right, here we go, everybody. There's a lot I want to get to in this video. As you guys can probably read from the title, this is the 2019-2020 season review for the Toronto Raptors and the off-season preview. All right, so we're going to obviously start with the review and talk about the season that was and what, what it meant and what were the expectations and did they live up to the expectations and, what are things moving forward that we want to see? We're going to break that all down right now, and we're going to start with the season that was, okay? Coming into the year, you guys can go back to my, my season preview for the Toronto Raptors before the year got going there in October. I think I said something along the lines of 4th, 5th seed, maybe 3rd seed. That's what I was saying, and that was a consensus all around Canada, clearly, because the United States kept saying that we weren't even going to make the playoffs this year. And clearly, the way this coaching staff worked and the way the players worked in this year, they really showed a lot. Now, obviously, we know the Raptors' record against teams like under 500 and out of the playoffs were very good, but their records against teams above 500 and in the playoffs were not very good. And we all knew that number all year long. But the Raptors beat the teams they got to beat, and the end of the season, obviously with it ending early and whatnot, 53-19 on the year. Lots of great highlights from that season. A 736 winning percentage, the best in franchise history, which is incredible. After losing Kawhi and Danny Green, you have that season, which is crazy. But obviously, you look at the year and all the crazy things that happened this year. We talked about it all season long. We talked about how this year felt a lot more fun than last. Yeah, last year was great, winning a championship. You can't go wrong with it. But this year there was some sort of different element to it. You saw some different things happen. You saw different guys step up. You finally saw Norman Powell blossom. You saw Terrence Davis come out of nowhere and turn into something crazy. You saw Lowry put on some shows. Fred VanVleet put on some shows. Pascal Siakam, before the bubble, obviously, put on some big-time shows, and we were like, wow, this guy's really blossoming and looking fantastic, and things were looking things were looking great. They ended up locking the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference, and we're like, man, this team is really good. Let's go on this big playoff run and show people down south of the border what this team is really made of. And obviously you steamroll through the Brooklyn Nets as anybody would at that point, the way they were, people didn't play and injuries and people backing out kind of 3 games. Joe Harris, he kind of backed out 3 games in. He's like, screw this, I'm done. And that was the end of that. So, and then you get to Boston, and we all knew. And I said Raptors in 7. I mean, I wanted to stay with my Raptors, and I wanted to say 7 because I had a feeling it was going to go 7, but it was a crazy series at that. Game 1, Game 2, the Raptors did not really show up offensively. Game 3, the only reason you pushed it to the only reason you had 5 games at least was OG Anunoby with the crazy buzzer beater, and to force Game 5, they go to Game 4, and Raptors win that one. That was the only game in that series, really, that they actually dominated. And they won that game, I think it was by 7. And it's a 2-2 series, and we're right back in it. Things are looking great. But then game 5, Raptors absolutely implode. And you're like, man, this looks like Game 1 all over again. They can't shoot. They can't defend. Things are awful. Now you're down 3-2. We go to Game 6, double overtime, insane game, and the Raptors do come away with that win with Kyle Lowry being inhumane at that point. It was incredible. And you force Game 7. The question was, did you have the energy in the tank? And the answer clearly was no, they did not. And people say, well, the Boston Celtics, I don't care about the Boston Celtics. I really don't care about them. I watched my team, and I'm like, man, a 34-year-old Kyle Lowry had to play like 55 minutes. Was it 55? I don't know what it was in the double overtime game. Something crazy like that. And now you're expecting him to go out there in a Game 7 performance. I understand that. But you also remember, what's Kemba? How old is he? How old is Jason Tatum? How old is Jaylen Brown? Exactly. You're expecting 34-year-old Kyle Lowry to play that type of minutes and then go out there and do that. You can't expect it. And he has a rough Game 7. The whole entire team has a rough Game 7, really. Pascal Siakam probably had his worst game of the series in Game 7, and the Raptors fall, and their season is done. But the question I have for you guys is this. Was it a successful season, or was it not? And for me, I think undoubtedly, yes. It is a successful year without a doubt. You weren't expected to make the playoffs. I said 4th, 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, and I'm like, that's probably where they're going to sit. No, they finished with 2nd, and they best franchise history winning percentage. I mean, obviously, they didn't play full season, of course, but it was very close to a full year. And so I didn't expect that. You got through the first round. Yeah, Brooklyn wasn't any good, so fine, I get that. That Boston Celtics team, people underestimate. I mean, I understand we won a championship. I understand we had a great winning percentage. We finished above them in the standings. But that team is so damn good. And yeah, the lucky shot by OG Anunoby. But in the end, you got to win games, right? And the Raptors pushed an incredibly good basketball team to 7 games. They were in this ball game for most of it, but in the fourth quarter, it just kind of fell apart. I got to give these guys credit, these Raptor teams credit. Obviously, you didn't see any Terrence Davis in that series or any Boucher in that series for any significant time at all. And I'm a little surprised about that, but in the end, you want to keep it tight there in the playoffs, and that's what Nick Nurse did. And I trust Nick Nurse more than anybody, right? And it's unfortunate you lost. It really is. But in the end, you lost to the better team, and arguably that team could end up going all the way. That team is extremely good. And I look at this Raptor team. You keep your heads high. I mean, it really is remarkable what this team did this year. Now, obviously, next year, you want to take some steps in the right direction, right? You lost Kawhi and Danny Green, so the expectations were low this year. Well, they exceeded those expectations by a mile. Next year, with the team we're assuming is going to be somewhat intact, I expect to see somewhat of the same. Now, obviously, things are going to change. Teams are going to get better. Brooklyn's going to get a lot better, obviously, with getting KD and getting Kyrie Irving in their lineups and whatnot. So things are going to change. But I look at this Toronto Raptors team, I'm like, they're damn good. They're seasoned vets. They've been there, done that now. And obviously, they're still 2019 NBA champions. They're obviously not defending NBA champions anymore. But they can do it again. Now, the question is, obviously, free agency, off-season. Now let's get into that kind of stuff, because this is where things get real juicy. All right, we talked about the year. It was a good year. Obviously, you didn't go all the way, but it's kind of hard to go back-to-back. I don't care who you are. Now let's get to this offseason. And let's start right away with our own guys. The Toronto Raptors free agents this year. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. I don't know if he has a player option or a team. I can't remember. Boucher. I think he's restricted, though. I could be wrong. Gasol, Fred VanVleet, and Serge Ibaka. The 3 names I just mentioned right at the end are obviously the big 3 names on this team. Boucher and Hollis-Jefferson, yeah, they're okay players, but again, those are guys you can sign back, no problem. That wouldn't be an issue. But for guys like Marc Gasol, who made some big-time money this offseason, I have actually all the free agents list right here, if I can pull it up here. There we are. Marc Gasol, he made over $22 million this year. Obviously, we all know that he ain't getting that money anywhere else. The question is, what is he willing to do? And Raptor fans, I'm going to sit here and say this, okay? Just hear me out a little bit. I am okay with Marc Gasol coming back for this reason only. If he takes that really low, I wouldn't even say a vet minimum, something along those lines, though, to come back on this team, play in that mentor role, maybe even come off the bench and have somebody else start in his place and work, just be kind of an ambassador, kind of a coach, really, at that point, and help out. Will that happen? Probably not. I doubt the Raptors would. I mean, they might offer it to him. He might say, "No, I want to make some money somewhere else," even though I don't really know why he deserves it. Well, sorry, why he needs to go somewhere else to make money. He's made $22 million on a pretty damn big contract, but I understand it. So I would be okay with him coming back on a very, 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 very low salary, because we all know the impact he didn't really have in the playoffs, and how he's kind of showed his age this year. So for me, I look at Gasol, and I'm like, I'm okay with him leaving, but if he comes back, I want it on very low money. Serge Ibaka, I want that guy back. I think, and he wants to be back. He said it countless times on social media, whether it's a live Instagram live, whether it's to the media himself, whether he's tweeting it out, whatever the case may be. He loves this city. He loves this team. He loves the country. He doesn't want to go anywhere. The question is, will the dollar, because the way he played this year, he played fantastic this season, so he's gonna get paid. The question is, are the Raptors willing to pay him that type of money? Obviously, the Raptor fans are all thinking about Giannis Antetokounmpo next year in the offseason being a free agent, and probably Masai Ujiri, assuming he's around all this time. He's obviously thinking about that kind of stuff as well. So the question is, for Serge, what is he willing to do? He wants to be here. This team wants him here. Where's the dollars going to meet? And that's the big question mark moving forward. Same goes for Fred VanVleet. A guy who obviously undrafted, wasn't basically making chump change at that point. Now he wants a payday, and he deserves a payday. The question is, are the dollars going to line up? Are you going to let go of Kyle Lowry at the end of next year? That's going to be a tough one. He's making a boatload of money. He probably won't make that boatload of money in the next contract if he does end up signing back. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a very intriguing offseason for the Toronto Raptors because we all know the free agent fish that's out in next year's free agency. Obviously, trades can't happen up until that free agency date next offseason. But until then, I'm not really expecting Giannis to be a Toronto Raptor. Would I love it? Is it a possibility? Yeah, it is. Are there ties to him and the Toronto Raptors and Masai Ujiri? There absolutely is. Does it mean anything? I don't know if it does. We don't really know Giannis. No one really knows Giannis except for media and his teammates. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. But all I know is that Fred VanVleet I want back. Gasol I want back on a very minimum contract. And then for Serge Ibaka, I want him back too. The question is, how's it going to work? And that's up to Masai Ujiri, to Bobby Webster, the management team, the players, and their agents. And that's where we sit back and wait and watch. Right? So now with that being taken care of and our free agents being talked about, let's get to some free agents who are out there this year. Obviously, trades can happen, and if you guys want to go down mock trades in the comments below, go nuts. This is really a video for you guys to brainstorm and say your piece about what you think needs to be done with this team moving forward. But I'm just going to throw out some names. And I'm saying we should go after these guys. These are free agent names, not on the Toronto Raptors, that are free agents at the end of this season, all right? Paul Millsap, Hassan Whiteside, Gallinari, Jeff Teague, Derek Favors, Big Business, Bismack Biyombo, Kent Bazemore, Evan Turner, Gorhan Dragic, Tristan Thompson, and it goes pretty low from there on. There are obviously trade pieces that can be done moving forward, and I follow this Raptor page. Let me see if I can pull them up here on Instagram, and they posted a very interesting one. And it's the Toronto Raptors hub. If they end up following the channel, then hey, good stuff. Because I follow your Instagram page. They're a great Instagram page, guys. Go check them out. Because I have something here, and they're talking about 4 non-All-Star players that would fit perfectly on the Toronto Raptors. None of these guys are free agents, but they're guys that would have to be acquired in trades. Now, with the way COVID-19 has kind of screwed everything up money-wise for the NBA, free agency is kind of going to be a crapshoot. We have no idea what's going to happen. And the players who are hitting free agency have no idea what's going to happen. So that's why I don't know if free agency is the best way to go for this team. Trade market is probably going to be hot this year, all right? And these are the 4 players that he has and the reasonings behind each player, okay? The first one, I'm going to go through the names first, and I'll break down each one. Victor Oladipo is one. Robert Covington is the second one. Drew Holiday is the third one. And Miles Turner is the fourth one. So let's start with Victor Oladipo. A lot of basketball fans know the name. And these are his 3 reasons of why Victor Oladipo, the Raptors should target a guy like Victor Oladipo. Amazing perimeter defender. Can give you 20 points a night. That's usually what he does. And then a go-to scorer in the clutch. You saw that a lot this year with Indiana, that he can, not this year because he was hurt, but before the injury last year against Toronto, he's shown the clutch genes, so he knows how to do it. So I get that. I would love a guy like Victor Oladipo. The question is, what are you willing to pay him? What are you willing to pay a team like Indiana for a guy like Victor Oladipo, right? And I could be wrong. You guys can let me know in the comments. Is Victor Oladipo a free agent at the end of next season? You guys can let me know in the comments about that, all right? The next guy he had on his list was Robert Covington. And I've always liked a guy like Robert Covington for a few reasons, and he mentioned them all. A great interior and perimeter defender. He's very quick on the feet. And have you noticed the first 2 guys that I mentioned? Amazing perimeter defender and amazing interior and perimeter defender. You know why that is? Because the Toronto Raptors team is defense out, right? When their defense is strong, it leads to offense. And Robert Covington is a great perimeter and interior defender. He's a great 3-point shooter, and he's versatile. He can play the 3 and the 5. He's very versatile, which is great. Anytime you have guys who can play different positions is always important. So he'd be a guy that the Raptors could really look at, and he's a great 3-point shooter. You can never have too many of those. All right, his third guy was Drew Holiday, and I've always been a Drew Holiday guy. I've always liked Drew Holiday, even on his Philly days before he got traded for Nerlens Noel, which clearly didn't work out for the Phillies, or the Philadelphia 76ers. All right, but the reason Drew Holiday is this guy's choice was he's a great defender, and he's always been a great on-ball defender. I've really liked Drew Holiday over the years, and he's a good scorer. He's not a guy who's going to put up 20, 25 a night, but he'll give you 15 to 20, and he'll make things happen off the bounce. He's a really good player in that sense, and he's a solid playmaker as well. Bottom line, he's great with the ball, and he's great without the ball. That's what you love to see in a point guard, even though he might be able to play the 2 as well, depending on what Fred VanVleet. I don't know. There's so many things that can happen for a trade with Drew Holiday, all right? Plus, with guys with New Orleans having guys like Lonzo Ball, they want to. I mean, obviously, if they move them, then who knows? But they have some point guards that they could move, and a guy like Drew Holiday, he's not the youngest guy out there, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see. It really is. And the final guy is Miles Turner. Miles Turner is an amazing shot blocker and can stretch the floor. He can shoot the 3 a little bit, and he can crash the offensive boards. And Raptor fans, what has this team lacked since really Bismack Biyombo left? And even him, if it was an offensive board and putback, that's really all he could do. He couldn't shoot free throws. He couldn't perimeter defend. He couldn't do any of that stuff. So, again, Miles Turner could be a guy. The question is, Miles Turner's not going to cost you a whole lot. So, is that a guy you go after? So those are 4 guys that I saw on Toronto Raptors hub on Instagram. Go check them out, guys. I really liked what he put there, and I really liked the way he broke it down a little bit for us. All right, so if there's anybody else, though, in the trade market that you're saying, hey, I really like this guy, this is a reasonable trade the Raptors can do without killing their future, without killing their team right now, and getting this guy, let me know. Comments below, guys. This is, like I said, this is a video for you guys to go nuts and talk about the offseason, what you think this team needs to do moving forward. I mentioned some free agents. If there's anybody that I did not mention, if there's anybody that I did not mention that you guys want to mention in the free agency category that you think the Raptors should kind of go after for a certain position, for a certain spot on this team, let me know, guys. But I don't know how many holes are going to be on this team. That's why I'm thinking trade market is the way to go. But again, what are you willing to give up? Masai Ujiri has shown the ability to wheel and deal before. The question is, what's he going to do? All right? So, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up with that. All right? So if you enjoyed the video and are excited to kind of get this offseason going because it's going to be full of a lot of different things, smack that like button to appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on what I've talked about so far. If you agree with some of the things I've said, if you don't agree with the things I said, let me know in the comments below. If there's anything I didn't mention, like I said earlier, let me know in the comments below, guys. Twitter is down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Instagram link is down in the description. So I'll follow up there if you've not done so already. And I will talk to you guys Blue Jays edition a little bit later on, about an hour first pitch there from the Bronx at Yankee Stadium as Davy Garcia faces Taijuan Walker in Game 1 of the 3-game set against the Yankees in a huge series. Gio Urshela and Giancarlo Stanton are back in the lineup for the Yankees, so they're getting their bats back, and the Blue Jays got to play them for a 3-game set now. But this will show what this Jays team is made of, right? We're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. Game 1, 7:05, first pitch today. And as for the Raptors, guys, I'll talk to you guys at some point when we hear more news, maybe about Masai Ujiri, maybe some trades, maybe some free agent signings, maybe some of our own guys are coming back. Freddie V, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, maybe. Who knows? I'll talk to you guys whenever we hear something about the Toronto Raptors, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys are in the video. Talk to you guys then.